The stage is set. The green flag drops. Rip is about to blow. Butcher fades into last. They should avoid mine. Shred is dominating the race. Nate looks lost out there. Butcher is about to blow. Nate lights him up. Last lap. Shred is dominating the race. Butcher was lost out there. Shred scores a first place knockout. Rip finishes second. Nate takes a weak third. Butcher is in another time zone. Let the carnage begin! Butcher is about to blow! Rip jams into first! Butcher was lost out there! Shred jams into first! About to blow! Nate unleashes hot fury! Nate lights him up! Butcher was lost out there! Is about to blow! Nate is dominating the race! Last lap! Shred fades into last! Holy Toledo! Nate unleashes hot fury! Shred is about to blow! Nate scores a first place knockout! Rip finishes second! Butcher takes a weak third! Shred is in another time zone! Stage is set. The green flag drops. Butcher is about to blow. Nate lights him up. Nate is dominating the race. About to blow! Butcher was lost out there! Nate launches himself! unleashes hot fury. Rift is about to blow. Last lap. Butcher looks lost out there. Snake unleashes hot fury. Snake lights him up. Shred is about to blow. Snake scores a first place knockout. Rift finishes second. Shred takes a weak third. Butcher is in another time zone. The carnage begins! Rift is about to blow! Whoa! Shred is dominating the race! Snake looks lost out there! Snake unleashes hot fury! Is about to blow! Butcher is dominating the race! Is about to blow! Rift was lost out there! Butcher scores a first place knockout! Snake finishes second! Rift is a weak third! Shred is in another time zone! The stage is set. The green flag drops! Butcher is about to blow! Butcher fades into last! Shred is dominating the race! Holy Toledo! Snake fades into last! Rift is about to blow! Snake unleashes hot fury! Whoa! Shred is dominating the race! Snake was lost out there! Ouch! Unleashes hot fury! Rift is about to blow! Whoa! Snake looks lost out there! Last lap! Warp! Butcher finishes second. Shred takes a weak third. Nick is in another time zone. Let the carnage begin! Nick is about to blow! Nick unleashes hot fury! Shred fades into last! Nick lights him up! Rip is dominating the race! Butcher looks lost out there! Rip is about to blow! Nick powers up! Nick lights him up! Rip is dominating the race! Butcher looks lost out there! Last lap! Nick hits the warp! Nick unleashes hot fury! Nick is about to blow! Scores a first-place knockout. Rip finishes second. Shred takes a weak third. Butcher is in another time zone. The stage is set. The green flag drops. Butcher is about to blow. Shred fades into last. Nick hits the warp. Shred looks lost out there. Shred fades into last. Nick lights him up. Butcher is about to blow. Unleashes hot fury! Nick lights him up! Nick hits the warp! Nick is dominating the race! Butcher is about to blow! Shred fades into last! Nick lights him up! Scores a first-place knockout. Butcher finishes second. Rip takes a weak third. Shred is in another time zone. Let the carnage begin! Nick unleashes hot fury. Shred fades into last. Rip jams into first. Nick powers up. Shred fades into last. Rip is dominating the race. Shred is about to blow. Shred was lost out there. Nick jams into first. knockout. Butcher finishes second. Rip is a weak third. Shred is in another time zone. The stage is set. The green flag drops. Nick unleashes hot fury. Rip fades into last. Rip was lost out there. Shred is dominating the race. Nick jams into first. Butcher is about to blow. Lost out there. Nick is dominating the race. Nick unleashes hot fury. Last lap. Unleashes hot fury. Butcher is about to blow. Rip was lost out there. Nick is dominating the race. Nick scores a first place knockout. Butcher finishes second. Shred is a weak third. Rip is in another time zone. Let the carnage begin! Snake unleashes hot fury. Snake fades into last. Shred is dominating the race. Jams into first. Rip was lost out there. Whoa! Butcher is about to blow. Snake unleashes hot fury. Rip fades into last. Butcher is dominating the race. Rip was lost out there. Nick lights him up. Butcher fades into last. Last lap. The race. Nick scores a first place knockout. Rip finishes second. Shred takes a weak third. Butcher is in another time zone. The stage is set. The green flag drops. Shred is about to blow. Butcher jams into first. Ouch! Snake fades into last. is dominating the race. Butcher is about to blow. Unleashes hot fury. Shred is about to blow. Rip is dominating the race. Snake lights him up. Scores a first place knockout. Snake finishes second. Shred takes a weak third. Butcher is in another time zone. Let the carnage begin! Butcher is about to blow! Snake lights him up! Snake lights him up! Snake is dominating the race! Butcher was lost out there! Shred jams into first! Snake fades into last! Out! Shred is about to blow! Holy Toledo! Snake hits the warp! Shred is dominating the race! Snake hits the warp! About to blow! Snake unleashes hot fury! Snake hits the warp! Last lap! Unleashes hot fury! Rip scores a first place knockout! Shred finishes second! Butcher takes a weak third! Snake is in another time zone! Stage is set. The green flag drops. Snake unleashes hot fury. Shred fades into last. Snake should avoid mine. Rip fades into last. Butcher is dominating the race. Rip looks lost out there. Snake unleashes hot fury. Wipeout! Snake fades into last. Butcher is dominating the race. Out! blow! Snake was lost out there! Last lap! Whoa! Butcher is about to blow! Scores a first place knockout. Rip finishes second. Butcher is a weak third. Snake. Let the carnage begin. Snake unleashes hot fury. Rip stays in the last. Snake is dominating the race. The warp! Rip was lost out there! Snake should avoid mine! Butcher fades in the last! Snake unleashes hot fury! Ouch! Snake hits the warp! Shred is dominating the race! Snake lights him up! Snake hits the warp! Last lap! Butcher fades into last! Snake unleashes hot fury! Scores a first place knockout.